The entire team showed up in those Seth Jarvis holding a bag of money T-shirts this morning. So
that's a good tease. That's a good
yeah,
tease for your teammate that just got paid.
that is fantastic. I joked with Aho that the reason why we couldn't keep Teuvo Teravainen and Brady Shea and Brett Pesce was Jarvis is eating up all the cap room. I think this is a group that doesn't believe a lot of the stuff that's being said about them, that they're not good, that they're not as good. I mean, I think they believe that they're good, and I think most people believe that the Hurricanes are a playoff team. But I think it's a good group. It was a spirited first practice. I mean, if we're looking at how certain guys did, I'm not going to draw a ton of I'm not going to take a lot out of it, but I think Jarvis won a puck battle with Jacob Slavin.
Look at that.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And I talked to Seth not that long ago, and Seth said the guy hates practicing against the most is Slavin. Sebastian Aho won at least his portion of the skating test today. And I know that we have some Jesperi Kotkaniemi fans out there, and he looks like he might be in the best shape he's been in. So looks a little bit leaner. Not that he was, overweight or anything last year, but you can tell when guys, like, just in their face, when they are in great shape. And I sat down with Martin Necas for a bit today, and he also looks like he is in absolutely glorious shape.
We're talking with Adam Gold here on the Adam Gold Show, which is a weird reset here. Adam, it's interesting you brought up that you get the sense that this team is not believing the step back narrative that from a season ago they took a step back. I'm having a hard time. We talked about kind of expectations for the preseason to start the show. I'm having a hard time not relating everything back to, well, this is what it was like last year. And
right.
Last year, just about everybody returned, and the only question was, who's Orlov going to skate with? Now this year, there's so many questions. How do you see kind of the difference, maybe even as something as simple as day one from last year to this year?
Well, they don't have the scoring depth in the forward line. And, I mean, Brady Shea and Brett Pesce over the last 4 years have been as good you can call them second pair defending, group if you want, but they have been as good a defensive pair as there is in hockey over the last, 3-4 years. And those guys are both gone. So Dmitry Orlov and Jalen Chatfield, who skated together today, they're going to bump up. But if you take anything out of what we saw in the postseason, and granted, it was just 2 series and the Hurricanes lost the second one, Orlov and Chatfield was Carolina's best defensive pair. And in the playoffs, Rod Brind'amour stopped hiding them, if you will, because they got top assignments. They were going up against top 2 offensive pairs, and statistically and otherwise, Orlov and Chatfield rose to the occasion. They were great. They were better than Slavin and Burns. And so I'm not really concerned about Orlov and Chatfield. The third pair of Shane Gostisbehere and Sean Walker, they'll have to get familiar with each other, have to get familiar with the system. Gostisbehere has some familiarity, but he wasn't here forever. It was just a couple of months at the end of the season a couple of years ago. But they're not as good in terms of what we know defensively, and they're going to have to find other guys to put the puck in the net. Truth of the matter is, Teuvo wasn't a big scorer. Maybe the absence of Steph Nason has a little bit of an impact because that's scoring depth, and I think you saw that most when they broke into power play units today. First power play unit, everybody who knows the roster can name it. It's Aho, it's Svechnikov, it's Jarvis, it's Necas, and it's Shane Gostisbehere. The second unit would be a challenge because there really isn't a second unit. And I think if we ever get to a second unit on power plays during the regular season, then it's going to look like it'll be Kotkaniemi, it'll be Drury. Trying to think who the third forward. It was Orlov and Burns. Jack Roslovic was the third forward on it. So that's not really a power play unit. That's three guys and who play forward and two defensemen who will get power play time. But I think Rod's going to ride that first unit as long as he can, which, by the way, would be what Edmonton does. It would be what Tampa does for the most part. At Washington, when they were, in their power play heyday, Boston in their power play heyday, that's what they did. They keep their best guys out there because you're trying to score. And you're not going to just say, well, we have an extra guy, let's go there. So that's where it's felt. That's where the difference between last year and this year really, it shows itself. But I have great faith that the improvement on this team at Andre and Martin will be noticeable and make up at least some of the difference.
And you're just talking individual improvement for those two guys. You're just
scoring.
Yes. Okay.
Scoring. I think those guys will both score more.
How much do you put into? And I'm like, sometimes it's fun to just admit when you know you're doing something that you shouldn't. Like I know I'm going to overanalyze the lines and the pairings through the first couple of practices because
sounds like a Hurricanes fan to me.
Exactly. Like but I'll put my hand up and say I'm doing it, right?
Sure.
So, you bring up Chatfield and Orlov. I assume we'll see like Chatfield and Gostisbehere skating together at some point just to experience, see what it's like. The first line today, I believe, Aho in the middle, obviously, with Seth Jarvis and Svetch. I believe we'll probably see Jarvis bounce around and see where he fits in during this preseason. Like, how much do you put into where Rod starts, right? The initial pairings out there today.
I think Rod does it more in pairs than in trios. If I was going to guess, I actually think Andre will play with Kokoniemi and Necas when we get to the season. I think Aho and Jarvis will be together. I don't know that you'll see Jarvis move away from Aho unless it goes stale from time to time, because Rod does do that. And I think he'll try Andre on that line, but I actually think I think we're going to see Andre play with Necas around Kokoniemi. And speaking of that, Jesperi Kokoniemi is going to get the first shot at being that center. But the schedule is pretty tough early on. And let's be fair. Jack Drury was a better player than Kokoniemi was last year and really assumed that spot. Kokoniemi, we could all speculate as to why that long contract probably would be where most people land. He's going to get the first crack. And I thought he looked good today. I thought he looked very good today. Looked faster today. And maybe that gets to being a little bit leaner. He doesn't have to be a big, point producer. He has to be a big body in the middle. He has to win faceoffs. He has to be responsible defensively. If he does those things, and he's playing with Andre and Necas, those guys will take care of the scoring. And which is really how they started this season 2 years ago, where Andre and Marty were just lighting up the scoreboard. Kokoniemi wasn't getting points, but he was playing center on that line. So if he does the little things, then those two guys and their talent will take care of the rest. I don't think you'll see the defensive pairs kind of messed with. I don't think there are a lot of options for Rod Brind'amour. Now, you could see the bottom four mixed and matched a little bit, but I think Chatfield is a top four defenseman. I think Orlov is a top four defenseman. I'm not sure I could say the same about Gostisbehere and Walker. So I think it's pretty set where the defense is going to line up, barring injury. And I don't think there's any other partner for Burns. I can't close my eyes and see Burns playing with anybody else other than Jacob Slavin.
And yeah, I agree with that, especially about the top pair. Last one before we let you go here. I know you talked with Martin Necas. We're going to play that conversation later on in the show, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's great.
But just because I can't wait that long, how has his headspace followed that rumor-filled offseason where, it's the man of 1,000 articles and podcasts this offseason?
I think his headspace is great. And look, the last time I spoke to Marty was right after the trade deadline last year. And he was absolutely ready for anything. And he said that in that conversation, I guess it was March of last year. Like, if it's a business, if they moved me, they moved me. I was ready to do whatever. But after all of what happened and, the rumors and the comments from his dad and the media speculation, I absolutely believe this, and we talked about it. This is where he wants to be. He wants to make this his forever hockey home, and he believes the way to do that is to prove that he is as good as he thinks he is. And I believe he can do it. And I've been saying this all summer. The 2-year deal was really to protect both sides. And I think if he has the year that he is capable of having, then I think they'll sign him long term. I think this is where his friends are. This is the organization he grew up in. I think he craves responsibility. I don't think it's about playing center. I've never thought it was about playing center. I've always thought it was about being a relied upon player, and he had fallen out of favor in those regards over the last year or so. So to me, Marty's headspace is great, and if he marries that with the production that he knows he's capable of, and we all think he is, then this is the sixth of many years of number 88 and Carolina Hurricanes, red, black, white, silver, Hartford Whalers, whatever color they wear.
That sound you heard was youth sports coaches across the state going, that's how you deal with it. You go out and prove that if you want something, you go make it obvious. And if that's what he does, then more power to him. And that's why you end up being an athlete the level of Necas' level. Adam, we appreciate you for stopping in to join your own show. We'll continue to play some of those interviews and things that you've tracked down at the first day of practice, and enjoy it out there, right? Today's one of the fun days.
Yeah, well, they also like all of Lenovo is here.
Well, okay, well then come home with a couple mouse pads and a laptop or two.
It's the frozen ThinkPad. I don't know.
The Lenny, the Vo. We're still workshopping names. Adam, we appreciate it.
All right, man.